Good evening, everyone. It is September 5, 2024. This is a meeting of the Facilities Committee of Council Rock School District Board of School Directors. I'm chairing this evening, Ed Tate, and we'll go around the table and everyone will introduce themselves, please. Starting to my right, Ms. Horner.
Ann Horner, School Board.
Bob Hickey, School Board.
Andy Sanko, Superintendent.
Jessica Binda, Supervisor of Facilities.
Tony Rapp, Director of Business Administration.
Andrea Mangold, Director of Communications and STEAM.
Nicole Khan, School Board.
Yota Piley, School Board.
Matthew McCarthy, Tech Integration.
Tracy Osecki, School Board.
Thank you very much. And okay, Joe Hidalgo is going to be joining us in a moment. And
I think Linda is on her way.
okay, Linda Stone's on the way. And do we have anybody on the phone?
I didn't hear anybody chime in.
Okay.
Michael Roosevelt, I'm on the phone.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Roosevelt. So there we go, and Mr. Hidalgo has joined us. We will begin. Ms. Binda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Reminder that for the most accurate and reliable information concerning our district, please refer to resources, websites, and social media platforms managed by the Council Rock School District. We advise the community to exercise caution when relying on the can't read today. We advise the community to exercise caution when relying on the accuracy of social media and ask the community to verify any social media content with the district for accuracy. If you question what you are seeing, need a fact check, or additional details on a matter, please reach out to the district directly. Our contact information is readily available on our website at crsd.org. For the agenda tonight, we have a 2024 playground renovations project change order, South softball field reconstruction deduct change order, the 2024 district-wide paving repairs and sidewalk replacement deduct change order, the Churchville Elementary School clear story wall improvements deduct change order, the North and South Library carpet replacement deduct change order, district-wide security upgrades time extension change order, the Siemens service agreement, Richboro Elementary School classroom carpets, Richboro Elementary School project update, change in control of contracts for CHA Consulting, Inc., security upgrades, and facilities master plan update. To start off, we have the 2024 playground renovations project change order. The existing engineering wood fiber was shallower than anticipated, resulting in the need to remove excess soil to achieve the required subgrade at Holland Elementary and Wrightstown Elementary Schools. It's an increased change order for Premier Builders for $23,231.
Questions, comments?
Do we get any other bids, or it's just whoever's doing it?
This is who's doing the work. Premier, they bid the work. They were the ones that awarded contractor back in April. I think it was April. So as they were doing the excavation, we realized that we didn't have the depth for the engineering wood fiber.
How many square feet is that?
I'm sorry?
How many square feet? How do they derive that number?
So we had man hours, truckload. It was basically a T&M.
I'm just trying to figure out what the mass quantity of the extra earth.
I can get that. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I can get the quantity.
This is just to take away dirt. This isn't for extra new wood fiber?
No, so the wood fiber was included in the project. We needed a certain depth of wood fiber for the fall protection around the equipment. So when we removed the existing wood fiber, we realized that the wood fiber only went to a certain depth, and then we needed to remove additional soils. So we needed to bring in not extra excavation materials, but excavation equipment to make sure that we had that required depth for the equipment that we were installing.
What was the original depth supposed to be, and what was it? I mean, this seems like a lot of money because of something that maybe should they have done their,
So when.
dug a pit, they must have dug a hole to see what they thought it was.
So during design, we did do some investigation, but in the areas that the depth was not as deep, because we didn't do like test pits throughout the entire playground. So there were areas that had to be increased in depth.
Oh, and what's the total cost between those two sites?
Total-
Estimated, if you can.
23,000.
No.
Oh, like the contract value?
Total project cost for Holland Middle, and you said the other one was Newtown, right?
I'd have to look that up. I can get back to you on that.
Alright, so it's just not a lot of information. It says, hey, this is not as deep as it was, so we're gonna do this. But if they say, hey, it was supposed to be this many inches, but it's this, then it's on the record for what was.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I do have the depths. I can definitely provide that. Yep.
Right, thanks.
Yeah, I think that's typically the amount of information we get on a $24,000 change order, $23,000. So, I mean, if you want additional information, that's fine, but I think what presented here is typical. Anybody else? Next, please.
So quick update for each of the playgrounds. Up there is the Wrightstown Elementary School. We show the top two pictures show the play structure. Bottom left shows the new swing set and the swivel circle thing. And then the middle picture is the communication board, and the right picture is the WeSaw.
What's a communication board?
It's a board that nonverbal kids can use to communicate. They go up to it and it has different pictures on it. So it could be, there's one picture that stands out in my head right now is toilet. So if they need to use the restroom, they can go up and point to the toilet. There's also pictures of how they're feeling. So if they're feeling sad, tired, they can point to those, and it helps communicate. It kind of reflects what they use in the classroom so that the nonverbal kids have the ability to speak with the aides or other students.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're putting one in every school that we're renovating, and then Richboro has one, and then we have to put one in at Soul Finestone and Hillcrest for the next round, so that every elementary school, all 10, have the communication board.
It's at the Northampton Parks, Northampton Township.
Yes, yes.
Ms. Khan?
Blue playground.
That was actually the question I was just gonna follow up, that I know that we had discussed the communication board was gonna go at every playground.
Yes,
So, okay,
yes.
thank you.
This one.
If I remember correctly, it was actually driven by a parent a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Whoever was responsible for the one in Northampton is the one, and I'm sorry, I'm not gonna remember the parent, her name, I believe it was a woman, who was the one who started this, and then we decided to put this in every playground that we do.
So I think that, I'm sorry.
If I could just add to that, it was a student whose mom assisted him to get the initial board.
Because I think they had a sibling that
correct.
was nonverbal and they wanted to add that in, yep.
Cool.
Next is Newtown. Again, the play structure and that we saw on the left-hand side. If you guys remember, because we had the multiple disability program in the school, we wanted to make sure that this was more inclusive. So if you look at the top right picture there, it has the wavy kind of interactive board. And then you can see a small picture of the communication board. And again, on the left-hand side, bottom left is the communication board. It's standard across each of the playgrounds. Bottom center is just another view of the play structure. And then the right one is kind of a merry-go-round. So if you see the brown material there, that is a ported place material. So it is 100% ADA compliant. The kids can roll up into the opening there, lock their wheelchairs in, and all kids of all abilities can then play, because the thing kind of spins like a merry-go-round. And then last, we have Holland Elementary. On the top left is the play structure, and then the center is the secondary climbing play structure with a slide. On the bottom left is another one of those interactive boards for students, and the communication board is in the center. And then the right is the shade structure and picnic benches that the PTO had purchased. So we were able to get that all installed, and the kids started using it immediately. The one thing, these pictures were hard to get because there's kids constantly on the play equipment, which is amazing. Yesterday, I had stopped on my way home at Holland, and Champions was still there. And the kids were beyond excited and just super happy with this project. So I think this is 3 successful projects for this summer.
That looks great. I really appreciate the updates. I think it was real good from what I can see from the pictures. Is that the courtyard in question with that canopy that we were going to mill over before? That's a different one.
No, that's the courtyard that had the.
That had the other stuff?
Yeah, the
Kindergartens.
Yeah, yes.
And also, I noticed some standing water there. Is that on the, is that?
We're watering grass.
Okay.
So that was
Doesn't
shot first thing
stand there.
at
Okay.
7:30 this morning.
All right. Thank you. Really great. Thanks.
I just had a quick question. Is the canopy stays on all year?
It does. Yep. It's rated for storms and rain and snow, weight load, snow load, that kind of stuff. It stays up all year. So if there's a 40 or 50 degree day in December and January, the kids can still use it. I mean, the kids are out just about year round, since we don't have, knock on wood, a whole lot of snow anymore. So it's definitely usable. The picnic tables that we helped to pick are perforated, so that if it does get rained on, it doesn't, the water doesn't stay on them.
Okay.
Next are 4 of our summer projects, closing out the work. First is the South Softball Field reconstruction change order. It's a deduct change order for unused allowance money of $15,917. This project is wrapped up, where the contractor is coming back out. I believe he was supposed to come out today to reseed some areas, and the grounds crew were going to keep watering and overseeding in the outfield so that we are ready to play softball in the spring. We had some pretty heavy rains that we were monitoring the work that we did, and we feel that it was a successful project and eliminating a lot of the erosion that we were having prior to the project. Next are the paving repairs and sidewalk replacement change order. It's a deduct change order for unused allowance money for a deduct of $39,884. This project was paving at Churchville and Goodnoe, and then doing some handicap work at one of the bus garages, and removing some brickwork at Hillcrest Elementary School. So all 4 locations are wrapped up, and so we're closing the project out here. Next is the Churchville Clear Story Wall Improvements Change Order. You guys remember this was putting up the wall panels to eliminate water infiltration on the 2nd story of the cafeteria. Again, a successful project. When we had some heavy driving rains, we had no water in the cafeteria at all. So great project that we took care of that. This is a deduct change order again for unused allowance money, a deduct of $37,558. And lastly is the North and South Library carpet change order. This is a deduct change order for unused allowance money for $89,821. So both North and South has new carpet. Conveniently, they both selected the same carpet, independent of each other. So if kids spill anything or something gets damaged, we have plenty of attic stock to replace the carpet squares.
Great. Mr. Roosevelt, do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you. I think the explanations were wonderful. I had a note thinking about change orders, just to reiterate from the previous board meeting. If change order requests could be accompanied by a reason, and who discovered it or initiated the change. Typically, tonight's example isn't inclusive of this. Obviously, there's a lot of deducts, but sometimes that's still relevant. But typically on a change order, the work often, when done as a change order, costs more than if it was originally included in the scope of work. So understanding why there's a change order and who initiated it and what's the purpose would be helpful. I think Ms. Binda Shaw did a wonderful job of providing exactly that explanation that I was looking for, and I hope she continues to do that.
Good. Any more comments or questions?
Not at this point over the items that were covered, no.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay.
Next is district-wide security upgrades, time extension change order. This is purely for paperwork only. There is no cost to this. This project is wrapped up and completed. The original contract time was sorry, let me take a step back. The contractual substantial completion date was 6/1/2024, and the final was 6/14/2024. We awarded this a month late due to just kind of getting our ducks in a row and making sure that we had everything. So we needed to extend it for 1 month, so the actual substantial completion was 7/5/2024. And the final completion was 7/19/2024. So this is purely just for paperwork tracking purposes.
Okay. I don't see any questions.
Okay, next is our Siemens service agreement. This is a service agreement for HVAC controls for Chancellor, South, and Goodnow for a total annual cost of $41,310. There is no increase from the 2023 agreement. Again, this is for our Siemens for our HVAC controls at those 3 locations. Okay. Richboro Elementary School classroom carpets. If you guys recall, we talked about last month approving for the furniture, and I was just waiting for the final carpet cost, so I have received it. So we'll be purchasing through the PA CoStar's contract with PEMCO for the amount of $8,567.61, and the carpets will be delivered with the building furniture in December.
Sorry, these are the, story time rugs. They're not like actual wall-to-wall.
No, these are the area rugs, exactly the story time rugs.
And we're still on time, right? I
Yes.
get lots of questions. I
Yes.
keep on saying,
So we're going, next is the update, and I can give you a little bit of information. I got some good news.
We made sure this was in here for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the Richboro Elementary School project update. A lot of work has been completed. If I remember correctly, a lot of you walked through in April or May. Exterior, you'll see the front canopy. The glass in the front has all gone in. And then in the back is the rock wall and the learning stairs in the top right. Okay. And then next, the top left is the art room. The top center is a typical classroom. If you look at those 2 pictures, you can see that we have power. There are light fixtures operational in the building. So that was a huge success this summer, was just getting PECO to get us power. The top right and the bottom right are the STEAM classroom. The bottom center shows the new chiller and the new generator. And the bottom left shows the new boilers and the pumps that have been installed. The biggest hurdle that we have remaining is the PECO gas. So PECO has been in contact with us. They've received the agreement and the check that was approved at the last board meeting. They're currently going through engineering. We received an update yesterday morning that it has hit engineering and it's going through the process. So we are going to be reaching back out to them on Monday to hopefully get a schedule. As a backup, we have been talking with our mechanical contractor on potentially switching our boilers temporarily to propane, to make sure that we can change out the orifices and bring in temporary propane, because the major push right now is to get our building conditioned. Because as you can see from these pictures, we don't have flooring installed yet. So we can't install flooring and we cannot install our doors and the rest of the ceiling tiles in the classrooms without conditioning. So, so we're working through this right now, and that's our last, knock on wood, our last big hurdle to get through.
When we talked about this previously, it seemed as though we're pretty sure that the gas will be connected. We're pretty confident it'll be connected by the time school is opening.
Yes.
This is so we have heat to finish the construction work.
Yes, so right now, we have the chiller, we're ready to turn on the chiller, but without the boilers, we don't have reheat. So the chillers would overcool the space and create additional humidity. So we need to have that reheat so that we can pull that humidity out and then start installing the finished materials.
Okay.
So we're on top of Pico. I think they finally got sick of hearing from us and responded that it's in engineering. So Monday, we're going to be jumping back on them to hopefully get a schedule. Colin and I have been talking about other options. If they can't get to drop in the gas line, can we plate it? Can we dump concrete over it and then plate it? You know, just different options so that we can get gas into our building. Okay. Next is the change in control for CHA Consulting, Inc. So as many of you know, Dewey Engineering was acquired by CHA Consulting effective February 23rd, 2024. So this agreement is just simply taking the current assignments to Dewey, whether it is a task order or a contract, and letting it be assigned to CHA Consulting. So it's changing the name from Dewey to CHA. It doesn't change the service that they've been providing. It doesn't change the people on the projects. It just changes the name from Dewey to CHA.
Doesn't change the cost.
It does not change the cost.
Nikki?
Well, we did discuss that we did get some additional resources,
Yes,
correct?
yes, thank you for bringing that up. So one of the things that, in the beginning of the summer, whenever we had, actually, end of the spring, beginning of summer, we ran into a hurdle with getting an EPA number for our removal of mercury at Sulfinestone. It's something that I had never seen before. Our environmental consultant hadn't seen it before. So we were working with Dewey to say, because the district had to do it, it had to be the district's issue. And I started working with Dewey to say, who can help me? And they reached out to their CHA partnership, and they had a gentleman on staff that had worked through it. He literally sat on a Zoom call with me as I'm filling out the form, the EPA form, and making sure that everything, he's answering the questions. I mean, there was questions that I had never seen before. So he was extreme help, and we were able to get the number and get the mercury abatement done on time. So they do, definitely CHA has additional resources that even Dewey doesn't have.
Because it's a far larger firm.
Yes, yes, they're up in, from what I understand, they're up and down the East Coast of the United States, and they have, I don't know how many employees, but they have a lot more than just the Bethlehem office.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Ms. Khan. Mr. Roosevelt, any questions or comments?
Not at this juncture.
Anybody else? No? Okay, great.
Next are security upgrades. This is the approval of $1,698 for security upgrades.
Okay.
Next, the facilities master plan update. We have completed, I guess, let me change it to with CHA, We have completed all of the building surveys at all of our schools, whether that be mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and architectural. Schrader Group is currently working on space requirement study and analyzing building survey data. And since this came out, the slides came out, I've actually been in contact with Schrader Group. They are ready for the demographic study numbers. So they have a lot of they have all of their space requirement study and analyzing the building done. They just need the numbers. And we anticipate the draft demographic study from Proper GIS Consulting the middle of September. I was in contact with him late last week, and he confirmed, I believe it was September 19th, we should have the draft. And then once we get the final enrollment numbers, beginning of October, he'll be able to issue his final draft. So we are quickly moving along with the plan, and should have some additional information coming up shortly as soon as we get the demographic numbers.
Great. Questions, comments? No?
I have a question.
Yeah, please,
Not specific to the security upgrade, but the number you mentioned was like 1,600 something, right? So is there a limit that if it's like less than a certain amount, you don't really have to come to the board for like explanation and justification? Because, I mean, usually there is a limit under a certain amount. It's not worth spending too much time talking about it. Is it something that you have to provide, or is something that you choose to provide?
Well, so the board, the requirement is the board approves all purchases. And only the board can enter into contracts. Now, you can delegate that authority to the superintendent, to the director of business administration for a certain amount. You can also, and you still get a final approval on it because you also approve every bill that gets paid when that's done. Our bid threshold is $23,200. So anything over that amount that's not a professional service, we go out to bid on. And there are, so there are certain amounts that I believe it's been practiced at like under $30,000. Those amounts were just taken care of without bringing it to the board, and they approve it when they you approve it when the bills are paid. But on the other side of it, of course, you approve a budget that, there's lots of costs that come through that you've approved, a budget for certain items in the classroom. So when you approve that budget, we're able to make those purchases without coming back to the board. But again, you do get, that information is always provided to you in the board report at the monthly meeting, and when you approve that board report, you're approving those payments. We've been kind of, it's been the practice to keep it under like $30,000 unless it's a bid item that the administration makes the approval and approve it on the board at the board meeting with the bills. I think for security items, we bring all those to the board because of the nature of the items, so that you're aware, and that's not, the specific information is for the board to know, because we certainly don't want to lay out all our security measures to the public. But so really, we've been kind of using, before me, 30,000 was kind of the threshold. We've been trying to bring more to the board though, because we want to get, especially when it comes to contracts and agreements that the board signs off on them. But It's really how the board feels about doing something like delegating authority for contracts to the superintendent or the business administrator, or however you want to do that. So it's really up to the board. Another thing that I'll throw in there is the state requirement is that anything over between 10,000 and 23.2 has to have 3 quotes. The Council Rock rule that we used over the last year and a half has been anything over $1,000, we require 3 quotes. I think in the business office, we feel that's an easy thing to do, to get 3 quotes, and it's always gonna get us, if it gets us a better price, then that's a good thing. So that's really, and I'm sure our solicitor would have more information, but basically that's the gist of it. Every purchase has to be approved by the board, whether that be through budget or payment of bills or specific budget or specific board action.
Like when you talked about the carpet?
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that was approved when we approved the project. You're just telling us that now you're gonna order the carpet, which by the way, it's that, I mean, you're not
Well, I think
looking.
we are looking for approval on that
Okay.
because it's spending out of the capital projects fund. And I think it's important, I think we in the business office think it's important that you know what we're spending out of the capital projects fund on these. I mean, you as a board have agreed to borrow that money, so it's important that you know where that money is being spent. So that's a little different, I think, in that we want to make sure that anything related to that purchase. And I think we had like a general number in the budget for furniture, but not specifically for this carpet. That was kind of a late thing that we were putting in. So and we brought to you the furniture, and this would have been with that, but because we didn't have the cost for that yet last month, and we wanted to get the furniture ordered, now we're bringing you the cost for the carpet. General fund, that's where we have a budget. That's where we have more of a framework that you give us for where we can spend money. Capital projects, capital reserve, we want to be more careful with that because you're not providing us with a framework. You're not providing us with a budget for that, other than the construction budget. Is that?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rapp.
Okay, last is the upcoming agenda items. Again, the ongoing discussion for the facilities master plan, and then the South Track resurfacing deduct change order. We were able to start using the track this week. So we're just finishing up paperwork, and we'll be back with the deduct change order.
Thank you, Bob. A couple of quick comments as I should wait until the end. One, that student's name was Michaela Zuzin, just wanted to thank her publicly. And my other question is, that maybe, I don't know if you would have the answer, how did it go with the movable stands at the South football game?
I was there.
So was I didn't see you there.
I saw you. I didn't see you.
Yeah.
But I think it was a great performance. The team won. I think it seemed like we had, for the turnout that was there, I think there was plenty of space. I think there was people sitting and then people standing at the rail.
Oh, the atmosphere was phenomenal. I'm talking logistically. I know that you had to, like I said, movable bleachers.
Yeah.
I mean, how did that go? Was there any problems?
So I think there's some minor tweaking based on the facility side. I know we had a giant lift for the announcer. And there was, at one point, there was a small child getting very uncomfortably close for me. So I think some fencing and some barrier, because there was a lot of kids running behind the bleachers playing football, which is great because the kids are active, but I think we need to make some modifications. But I think overall it was a huge success from our view.
Yeah, I mean, from my vantage point, it was a huge success, and I want to give actually the Northampton police some credit too, because as you said, there was a lot of kids running around, and they let them be kids.
Yeah, it was great.
They didn't have, like, they didn't run a hassle, and there was a lot of people around the sidelines, and, like I said, I thought it was a nice evening, and, but like I said, I thought the police department also did a really nice job of managing the situation. Like you said, you have to work out some tweaks, You know, it was a little tough to see depending on where you were sitting, looking over the players, but the milling around the sides was really nice.
Absolutely.
And, it was, like I said, I wanted to know how it worked from your vantage point. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it was a pain in the neck to move the bleachers, get them out,
No.
and all the other.
And even where like the concession stands and the bathrooms were, you know, that was a little bit of a logistics because we needed to make sure that people that were going into the building were contained where they were supposed to be. So we were able to lock doors. In fact, when I was keying through to go see my guys, someone, hey, where are you going? I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm supposed to be here. So I think even that, I think by halftime they sold out of food. So, you know, I think people got where they needed to be, and, you know, the transition between the field and the gated field area into the high school, I think it worked. I think from the facility side, it was great. We didn't have, knock on wood, we didn't have any issues. There was no broken toilets or anything crazy like that. So, and I made sure we had extra staff just in case, because that was my nervousness, was that, you know, we get 5,000 people show up to the game and then we don't have enough staff on the facility side to support it. I think we were staffed appropriately. So, and, you know, there was no complaints from my team for any issues with any spectators. So I think from the facility side, it was great.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
It was really cool to see.
It was a great thing, and I think everybody enjoyed the evening.
Yeah. And I heard the kids really, really enjoyed being home. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Glad we could do that. Anybody else? Mr. Roosevelt, anyone?
Yes, thank you. A couple of quick questions about the master plan, specifically the survey. Did Schrader come up with the questions for the survey? Was it the administration, or where did they come from? And who answered them? Was it exclusive to the principal, vice principal, that sort of thing, or did it go beyond just those few individuals? And finally, is the survey either an entirety question and answers or just a blank survey available if the board should like to look at some of the, I guess, raw data?
So there were 2 tracks for these surveys. And I used the word survey as in we surveyed the buildings, we walked the buildings, and then it wasn't a fill in the blank kind of survey. It was more of a discussion. So the first part of it, again, I said there was 2 tracks. The first track was the building surveys. So we went out to every single building, walked every single building with my staff to make sure that, for the HVAC, lighting, plumbing, to review any issues we may have, or items that we knew that we needed to replace. And then as the engineers were doing their survey, my team was there to support any questions that they may have had. I was probably at about 75% of them. And every inch of the building we walked, whether it was the pole boiler area where the heat exchanger is at north, the whole way up to the roof where the NASA satellite communicator antenna thing is at south. So we were in every inch of the building. Each building, we did Star, we did Twining Ford, we did this building, we did every elementary, middle school, and high school. We even did Richboro Middle School. And then the second track was talking with the principals. So we wanted to make sure how they were using the building. I know we don't like the word capacity, but in our world, we needed to see how each of the classrooms and spaces were used in the building so that we could develop, based on that use, what the true capacity was for that building. So as we all know that the special needs programs, they have a smaller capacity than a typical classroom. A typical classroom could hold 25 to 30 kids. A special needs classroom can hold 8 to 10 kids, speaking generally. So we wanted to make sure that we went through with each of the principals. And Mostly we met with, for that part, we met with the principals because they were the ones that had the information. Some of them did invite the building mechanics to participate in that as well. But I think that was the main focus for that was for the principals.
So this was more of a, let's understand what we have, walk through observation, architectural engineering survey, and then maybe a discussion about its utilization.
Yes.
As opposed to, as you said, a fill-in-the-blank survey.
Correct,
for
yeah.
use.
Correct. It was not a fill in the blank. It was, we wanted to make sure that it was interactive. In my world, when you have the fill in the blank surveys, you don't get as much information as when you have those in person, or most of them were, the principals were over Teams. But that one-on-one interaction to have discussions and have organic conversations. After we discussed with the principals, we asked each of them, what is your school missing, if anything? So for instance, an easy one is Wrightstown. We're missing space. We need space there. So, talking about, music class, the instrumental music classes, they're still being taught on the stage. So having a room like that would be useful at Wrightstown. So, and that's just like a simple, right off the top of my head item that we really discussed with all the principals. Now, some of them didn't have anything. Some of them were like, we're very happy.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I agree, having that organic conversation is very helpful. And I just was interested in how we're obtaining information. So it sounds like we're evaluating what we've got and starting to look at what the end user believes they need. At some point, I'm expecting the board and or the administration will have a little bit of time to weigh in on this analysis as we're planning the future of Council Rock to some degree.
100%.
All right, you good, Michael?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, anybody else? Good conversation. Thanks, everybody. We're adjourned.